Hosted by Mike, the Big Cheese.
Nobody else could see you the same way as myself. Fly high, touch the sky, you're the angel I adore. If only you could feel for me that I feel for you. Why do you ignore me, angel? Why can't I go with you? You're an angel witch. You're an angel witch. You're an angel witch. You're an angel witch. The more love I feel for you, the more you fade away. Why can't you come and love me? Do I have to stay this way? I'm gonna go insane if nothing happens soon. I look out at the night to see a shut up by the moon. You're an angel witch. You're an angel witch. You're an angel witch. You're an angel witch. Walk through the forest, I can feel that you're there. Why do you run away? I never hurt you. I never hurt you. That'd be the last thing that I do. You're an angel witch. 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 You're an angel witch.
All right, welcome back to the Heavy Metal Mayhem Radio Show. It is October 27th, 2024, and we got a great show for everybody tonight. Ronnie Angell of Cities is our first guest tonight. If you listen to the show at all over the last 16 years, you know what a big Cities fan I am. Started for the first time, I think, back in 83 or 84. And I've been a fan ever since then. Love those guys. And Peter Scheithauer from The Last Temptation, Killing Machine, Temple of Brutality, and so many other bands. We talked about both of those guys tonight. Right there, Angel Witch with Angel Witch. I don't know, they're not that busy, it seems like. Kevin Herburn put the band back together about 24 years ago. And they put out a couple of records, but you never hear really about them playing live or doing any shows. It's not too often, but Kevin Riddles has Kevin Riddles Baphomet, and they're doing a whole Angel Witch show, and Kevin was the original bass player in the band. I guess when you're a three-piece band, you have one original member in there. That's not too bad, right? So there you go. All right, we're going to keep the music flowing here today. We're going to get on as much as we possibly can in between the two interviews. So how about we do a little, you know what? Christian wanted to hear Angell, The Last Ride of Ichabod Crane. Let's get that off him first, right off the bat. We usually save his request for later on in the show, but we'll do it from right now. So here you go. Parent, Running from the Thunder. Right before that, off the latest Raven record, Turn the Screw. And before that, Excel, the last ride of Ichabod Crane for Christian, who wanted to hear that song. I guess it's kind of old news now because it happened last week, but Paul Di'Anno passed away. You know, we've said a lot of stuff about Paul Di'Anno over the years on this show, but you can't talk bad about the dead, so we won't say nothing about it anymore. I just find it funny that all these people on Blabbermouth, all these sites who were ripping him apart over the last year about performing in a wheelchair, not being able to sing no more, putting on a horrible show, are all praising what an amazing singer he was now and what a great guy he was now. It's just funny how death changes people's perspective on things, the way they look at you. But you know what? He gave us those first 20 Maiden records. I don't think you have to give us anything more than that. And how many years you're in the music business. So let's get on some Paul Di'Anno for you right now. This is from Battle Zone, one of the bands he formed after leaving Iron Maiden. This is a song called Rip It Up. It's a great song, actually. I mean, it was a better song when Queensryche wrote it 3 years before then and called it NM156, but it is a good song. If this doesn't sound like Queensryche, NM156, for note, let me know, because maybe I'm hearing something that's not there, but to me, it's the exact same song. But here you go, Paul Di'Anno, Rip It Up.
Your hands in the air, give it all we've got. 1, 2, 1, now come to us. We've got fucking bitch! Fuck you!
All right, Deuce with Lords of the Universe. They later on changed the name to Tension. Both bands, even though it was the same band, just two different names, put out a record much later on after both outfits actually broke up. And right before that, Rip It Up, Battle Zone with Paul Di'Anno. All right, let's play some cities. I'm going to punch in Ronnie's number. We'll talk to him in about 5 minutes or so. How about we do Cruel Sea, one of the greatest anthems in the heavy metal universe. metal just doesn't get any better than that. Okay, let's get Ronnie on the line. Give me a second here while I dial him up, and we'll get this interview going. All right, here we go.
Hello, Mike.
Hey, Ronnie, how are you? You're on the air live.
Very, very good. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you on here today. I mean, I have to tell you, I can't even tell you what a big fan I am of Cities. I remember getting that first demo back in 1983 and just following you guys around the tri-state area throughout the 80s.
Wow.
Catching every live show I could possibly catch you at.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for the invite.
It's my pleasure. Over the years, I've had Steven Sal on the show multiple times. So I said, you know what? I got to complete that Holy Trinity and get the main guy on, Ronnie. So I finally reached out to you.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. So, I mean, the big deal news is, I guess, is, even though Cities is kind of over and done with, the album's got reissued again, which brings them to a whole new generation of metalheads, which is amazing because there's so many out there that, are kids' age, if not younger.
Yeah, it really is quite amazing that, after 40 years, the album that we did that we're pretty much done with is resurfacing. And a part of this is probably because, Metal Blade had the rights for it for so many years that we really couldn't do a lot with it. It was being bootlegged, all over the place. And so Helion Records reached out to us to finally get some authorized records available, and CDs for anybody who wants to. And I would really love the new generation of metalheads to listen to it because Steve Maranovich, God rest his soul, he was an extraordinary guitar player and writer. And at this point, I feel it my duty to keep up his legacy going as an extremely great guitar player, and AJ as well. I feel like I'm speaking for both of them when I'm doing this and getting the old band out there.
Yeah, you really are. It was just such an amazing group when you think about it. I mean, kind of going back to the very beginning. I mean, I came across you guys, like I said, in '83 when I was able to get a hold of that one. I think it was the first demo tape you guys put out at the time. But how did it all start? It was actually years before that, wasn't it?
Well, we were, in '81, the band came out in '81. We were doing covers, stuff like that. AJ, well, then was Tony Pirro. He joined us before Twisted Sister. He joined us. We were doing covers. We were about to get out and play. That's funny. Got out and play. We were ready. We were about to come out and play, and he got the okay to join Sister. They found he had told us, I submitted a tape to Twisted Sister, and I'm waiting on that. But in the meantime, we were getting ready to go out and play, and he got the deal, of course, and he left. And, so yeah, we were doing covers for only a short time. And then probably '82, we started, writing our own music. And luckily for that gave us an opportunity to play, and open up for a lot of major acts whenever they came in. Mostly at Lemoore in Brooklyn.
Yeah, and that's why I saw you guys so many times out here in Staten Island, quite a few times too. And I remember back then. I mean, when you used to get that flyer saying, Cities is coming next week or the week after that to play, and it was a headlining show that you guys did. I mean, you could just feel the energy. The place was packed. I mean, you guys used to pack that place in when you went to the headline as an unsigned band back then. I always thought that was amazing. And we didn't have records back then for a lot of bands because the whole scene was new. So the only way you discover new bands is by going out and seeing them live. It is like today where people need to see videos and live shows and have the records. Back then you discovered most of your bands from going out to a club, your local club, and seeing them live. And you guys just used to draw the crowd in. I always felt, you guys had everything. The music, the looks, the sound, it was all there. I mean,
thank you.
It was just an incredible experience seeing you guys live back then. How was it for the band itself? I mean, did you get that kind of feedback from the audience when you were performing?
Yeah, well, you have good nights and you have bad nights. I'm always, most people were always better in front of a packed crowd. If you get a couple nights where you're not drawing and the crowd is kind of empty, the energy is a little less. We feed off them, they feed off us. But you are absolutely correct in that. Back then, people came out to see bands, unheard of bands, new bands, and it was exciting to be like one of the first ones to say, hey, I saw this band at this club. And, you kind of like get an underground following with them. They feel like this is my kind of band. That's how I kind of felt, back when I discovered Judas Priest, for the first time. Sad Wings of Destiny, and like before, they hit the mainstream audience. I was like, oh man, Judas Priest is, and then they got bigger and bigger, of course, and then every 13-year-old kid knew who Judas Priest was. But the energy and excitement of stumbling onto a band back then in the club is nothing like it, and you definitely hit it right with that. It was an exciting time back then to go out and see bands.
It really was. Like you said, most bands that start out, especially when they're younger, they start out playing cover songs. That's how they build up their chops and learn how to, be in a band. And then you come up with
Of
the
course.
originals. So, I mean, when you say, hey, you know what, let's start transition. It's like, originals now, and we're going to start writing these songs. Did you have a direct vision of where you wanted the band to go? Was everybody like on the same page where you say, hey, you know what, we're a power metal band, we're this kind of band? Or did it just come out in the songwriting at the time that the music that was being written was like kind of defined what cities would be?
Yeah, well, you know what? We didn't really have a plan. We knew we were going to be an original band, but at that time, Van Halen, Iron Maiden, those were the big acts at the time. And as much as Steve was Steve, when I first met Steve, we were probably 15, 16 years old, and he played the whole Van Halen album. It was just amazing. He got his chops playing those Van Halen stuff. As of what direction we were going, the metal scene was kind of young at the time, and it wasn't as it wasn't power metal. I mean, there wasn't even terms back then. It was just it's a heavy metal thing. I was more on the hard rock stuff, but we you don't really, we set our sights to just develop, that was really what we were trying to do. Of course, later on, I guess we might have had musical differences. Maybe that's part of the departure of the band. Who knows? That's probably a story for another day. But, we didn't really, we knew once we started writing, what we had as of chops with Sal, great bass player, and of course AJ drums, and Steve. I can't say enough about Steve. So we knew we had that kind of a band that we were going to be for musicians as well to follow.
True. I mean, New York had an amazing scene. L'Amour's was sort of like the hub of everything. And like it says, the scene was new. It was developing back then. So all these bands that were coming into play there, like, especially when they started getting bands from Europe that were coming over, like Accept and other Merciful Fate, and these bands were coming over and playing at L'Amour. You never thought you'd see those bands, right in your own backyard, nevertheless, like in this country. And they were still unknown bands at that time. And the scene was building up. So when you guys are starting out, and like I said, you're defining your sound, you're becoming the band you're going to become. I mean, is New York the place to be? Because back then people would say, if you want to get signed, if you want to make it, you got to go to L.A. But I thought we had just as strong a scene here. Maybe a little different scene, but I think it was just as strong here in New York as out in California.
No, yes, we absolutely did. And thank God for, a club like L'Amour that was able to house these bands because, we opened up for, many bands, and we shared dressing rooms with ones that were coming up. I mean, you don't know how many shows I've done with Anthrax, and we're just hanging out before. I think we were opening up for Manowar, or whether we were opening up for Anvil at the time, and we were just all starting out at the same level. Same thing with Metallica when we played with them at the East Meets West show. Johnny Z was talking to us about signing with Megaforce. They already agreed to sign with Megaforce. So we had done the show East Meets West with Metallica. And when I think back, I mean, it's more like a history lesson, if anything. I'm like, I go, wow, I cannot believe that we were 21 years old and they were watching us sound check. We were watching them sound check. And they were just an incredible band from the start. And they gave us a credit on the Kill 'Em All album, which was nice of them. So it was just like seeing these bands, and I'm so happy to have seen so many bands that I have been with that reach major success, and I can't say enough good things. It's not an easy road to make it with music. In fact, I'm writing a book. I've been writing a book for the last 2 years, should see publication hopefully 2025 on such things as making it with music, because I've seen a lot of mistakes that cities has made that kept us from reaching that plateau, like other bands that we bumped into on the way. But it's just good to see that there is successful bands, and New York had it just as well as California.
Oh, we absolutely did. And talking about the book that you're writing, I can't wait to read this when it comes out. But when you say like like the bands that made and being in the music business, things that you should have learned. But when you're in the moment and things are happening, you're really not thinking about stuff like that. Years later, you can sit back and say, hey, why did we make that decision? Like that Monday morning quarterbacking type of thing. It's easier
Yeah.
years later, but when you're in that moment and you're living it, you're just going for it. I don't think you really think about it as much, when you're doing it as years later when you say, if we did this, we might have been here. It's always easy to say that, but.
Yeah, no, definitely. You definitely got to go with the moment. A little time to take a step back from your decisions always would be a good thing. But yeah, it's pretty much just going for it. And back then we thought, it was just a matter of being lucky and this and that. But there's a lot of thought out plan, and just barring through everything, and just going through all the obstacles and all the pitfalls, and just keep coming out and keep going.
True. Ronnie, with all the bands that you played with and shared dressing rooms with over the years, was there any one band that you saw and said, you know what, these guys don't stand a chance, they're not going to make it? The next thing you know, it's like the biggest thing in the world.
That made it and didn't stand a chance? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it was like, was there ever a band that you played with or you shared a dressing room with that you heard them for the first time and says, these guys are never going to make it? Then years later, they're like one of the biggest bands in the world.
No. Fortunately, I never thought that way. And you know what? I always had the attitude that I never, ever would think anything negative of a band. There could be 99 things wrong with the band, and when I go see a band, I look at the one thing that I liked about them. I try to be on the positive more than the negative. But no, I never encountered anything like that. There's always bands, if they're not good technically, they make up for energy. There's always some type of balance, in the music business with any kind of rock and roll bands. There's a reason why they're on the stage, and it's in their blood to do it. So, no, I definitely never encountered that.
Oh, I'm glad. Like 1984, I think that's when the dam broke open. Metallica got signed to Elektra Records. Anthrax, I think it was Island or Atlantic, and then Raven with Atlantic, and all the bands that you never thought were going to go anywhere, but just be like your favorite underground bands, all of a sudden now are major labels. And some of them are succeeding, some of them are struggling a little bit, but they just started signing everybody at that time. I mean, did you feel around 84, 85 that, this was maybe City's chance to get signed to a major label, or were you still looking? Because I always thought Megaforce would have been a great fit to start with, especially being from, the New York, New Jersey area. But that didn't happen. It was a small independent label 2 years later, Metal Masters, that actually put out that first EP. Yeah,
well, actually, Metal Masters was probably just as big as Megaforce at the time. They were just starting out. Brian Slagle with Metal Blade, which Metal Blade now is, the biggest heavy metal record label there is. In fact, they just signed my brother. I know my brother-in-law Michael Lando. He's a guitar playing Category 7. With John Bush, and they just signed a nice deal with them, and they're doing well with Metal Blade. Our problem with Cities was that we weren't sure what we wanted, meaning we were looking for a major record. When Twisted Sister joined the band, there was interest from Atlantic Records. So we, started, this is not something we should have done, but we started writing different music towards a different label. We weren't just saying, hey, this is us, like it or not. So we started writing like a little more, I hate to say the word commercial style music, but that's what we were doing. Bottom line is we didn't get picked up by Atlantic, which is well known. I do feel that we should have signed with Megaforce over Metal Blade. At least we would have been on tours with Metallica. We would have been on tour with Anthrax. We would have kept us all in the same circle,
Yeah.
Where we didn't get no tour support with Metal Blade. And we've been over Johnny Z's house many times, talking about the contract. He lived in New Jersey, so we knew the guy, we met him. He lived here. We were dealing with Metal Blade, and I don't even know if I ever really spoke to Brian Slagle. So we didn't really have that kind of relationship. It was just through the phone. So. Signing with Megaforce would have been a plus for Cities. It would have been definitely would have been more than one record available.
I agree. One of the things everybody says about Metal Blade, and nothing bad or negative about Brian Slagle, but they all say the same thing, that most of the time we didn't get any kind of touring support or even any kind of support from the label at all. Where like I said with Megaforce, Johnny pushed all these bands together. He lumped them out on tours together, tried to get them signed to labels together. He was more, I think, more involved than Brian might have been with his own label
Yes.
at that point in time. But yeah, but you know what? Metal Blade, all these 40-something years later, they're still here, still putting out records.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, they stood. They were one of the biggest metal record label or label in general. I mean, it's weird right now. People are making records out of their from their laptops, and sometimes they don't even need record labels. I mean, Helium Records is the one company that re-released the Cities, which is their company based in Brazil. They're doing South America, Germany, and Japan. Being that we have the rights to the record as of now, so I was able to let Helium Records do this. But even them per se, they're not like a record company that would take a band and put money into them, release them. These companies are more like distributors now. They print up the CDs. That's the records, the vinyls. I don't know whether they're for collectors or for what, because I don't know too many people these days who even own CD players. Maybe but it's good to see if they come back and. But they're more like marketing the record and the CD. But and that's what these companies do these days.
It's true. I think another thing that confused a lot of people was that, the EP came out Metal Masters, and a year or so later, maybe a year and a half later, the full length came out with a couple extra tunes on there, and the same cover, the same name. So a lot of people got really confused at that time about what it was. So was that intentional or just something that Metal Blade wanted to do?
Confusing people. Yeah, well, confusing people was never our intention. Although it did make we kind of felt. Actually, Sal kind of felt that we only had 5 songs on the record. It was done on an import, Metal Masters. It came over here in an import. It didn't really sell a lot. A lot of people didn't know about it. Why waste the 5 songs on that and make a whole new record? Let's just do the LP. And when AJ joined the band and add the more. So yes, it was very confusing, and it should have just been titled a different record. If that was one of the things I can go back in the time machine to fix, I certainly would. But yeah, it was confusing for a lot of people. They actually, Helium Records had re-released the EP too, which was done in Metal Masters. Michael Lando, my brother-in-law, I had the original reels, and he remastered that, and that never saw CDs. That was never bootlegged. It was all the other, the ones with AJ on it were bootlegged. But that never saw vinyl. No, it saw vinyl originally. It never saw CDs except till now. They did a wonderful job on it too.
They really did. And like I said, there are a lot of bootlegs out there of the records. Nothing you could do about that, actually, when you think about it. As much as it probably bothers you, nothing you could do.
I know. It's a good thing and it's a bad thing. I mean, it's great that, there are people out there keeping the band alive. I mean, it's mostly the band's fault. We walked away from a record like leaving a nice car in a bad neighborhood and just walk away. After a while, vultures are going to come and strip it apart. And that's what happened with the Cities Annihilation album. We stopped interest. We thought, all right, on to the next thing. We didn't even wonder, are we still selling records? Because we just thought it was over. But, my AJ would be on the road with Twisted Sister, and he'd say he'd be in Switzerland, and he'd tell me, Ron, you don't know how many City CDs I signed. Where are these CDs coming from? Because we never really saw any money from any of these records. So I was like, hey, Tony, I don't have no idea where they're coming from, but, it's a good thing that they're out there and keeping the band alive after 40 years. That's something to be thankful for.
That's true, but I guess sometimes it could be cringeworthy because you probably hear someone say, "Oh my God, look what they did to this! They butchered the hell out of it." And that's people just think it's the band. People don't associate things with labels and all these bootlegs. A lot of them come from Russia too. I mean, there's a lot of Russian bootlegs out there, and that's where a lot of it comes from. But people don't realize they take something, they throw it together real quick, they try to make a little bit of money off it, and like it doesn't mean nothing to the bands to them because they don't care. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
But when you talk about
some of the quality. So some of the quality with merchandise, I mean, they did a wonderful job. Like I bought a denim backpatch from Spain that had the Cities, the whole cover on it, and it was absolutely beautiful. I was like, I saw it on eBay. I'm like, I'm not even going to trace these guys down. I just want one for myself, So I wound up buying it,
I like that.
But
I was in that band. Let me get that backpatch.
You know what I don't like is when they bootleg songs that I don't want out. You know, when they bootleg demos that really should have never left the studio. I mean, being in, I had a home studio for years and years, and that's actually where I'm sitting right now, in my home studio. And back then we did a lot of demos, we did a lot of songs, and some of them were just not meant for anyone to hear. They weren't developed, they weren't good sounding, they didn't put the band in a good light, and then here they are on YouTube, or they're out there, and I'm like, I would have wished it not seen the light of day, but you can't do anything about that.
Yeah, it's hard to keep control of all things, especially today with the internet and all the stuff that's going on in the world. It's a whole different place.
Yeah.
And, Ronnie, when you're talking about the EP and the album a year or so apart, I mean, you said you were changing musically. The band was changing, going in a little bit of a different direction. I guess you were chasing more of that commercial outlet. I like to say that the music became more polished. That's what I like to say.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Was that a band decision, or was somebody just going in that direction? The rest just had to go along for the ride because they were writing the music.
Well, Cities, Steve was the main writer of the band. Sal had a lot, he was older than the rest of us, and he had a lot more say to us. We listened to him a lot more. He was a big Iron Maiden fan. I was a fan of the music we were doing. Don't get me wrong. I felt, when we were doing that stuff, I felt the energy. It was just amazing, with the band behind you. But I was always a different musician too. I'm a classical trained piano player, guitar player, and I ventured in all different kind of things. I would say I am a musician and artist first before I'm a fan of any genre. That would be like an artist painting a bowl of fruit all the time. As of what we were trying to do, we were just trying to be a heavy band. We didn't throw a label on us. We didn't say we were heavy metal, we were power metal, we were this. We were just trying to be a heavy band, and wherever it took us, which was one of the reasons why we called the band Cities, was because we wanted to be able to, if we wanted to change the music at any given time or any given direction, we didn't want to be having the title of the band hold us back. The bands out there were always coming out with heavy names and writing heavy music. So we were kind of thinking something a little bit more, mild, that we can just do anything. But, it was short-lived. The band together was 10 years before we even started releasing records. And then it slowly fell apart, I would say, after Steve left the band initially. Well, AJ had left, but, we had replaced him. We had many, many drummers in our time span, many great drummers, I might add. He was the main guitar player, and at that time, guitar players were becoming a thing, Malmsteen was huge, and so he wanted to go out and do a solo guitar stuff. We could have done that and kept with Cities, but back in the day, we didn't have multiple projects. You were loyal to your band, and that's the band you stayed in. It wasn't like I'm doing this band, that band, that band, that band. Now it's a lot different, and now people do as much work as they possibly can.
It is a different world. You're right. You would never think about joining another band or starting another project. Even the bigger bands wouldn't do stuff like that. It was like, their band was their band, and that was it. You never thought those guys would break up. They would have a member fall out of favor. It was just the way we thought back then and the way it was. But you're right. Today, you have to be, if you want to be a musician and make money doing it or be able to survive on it, you have to be in multiple bands, multiple projects, writing and recording all the time. There's just no other way of getting around it. But back then, you didn't do that. But, 87, 88 come around. Was that when the band finally ended? Was it more close to the end of the 80s?
Yeah, I would say 89, we continued with actually Mike Orlando was in the band for a short time, and we were doing different stuff. We played for about a year, doing the old music and new music, and then I kind of felt it was time, So I probably was the last one to leave the sinking ship. At any given moment, if the original band would have said, "Hey, let's get together," and it almost happened a few times. With AJ, Steve, we all wanted to do it, but somehow something stopped us from doing it. I kind of thought that I was kind of done, and I wanted to venture into my own kind of music, But, I have the respect when I listen to this, it was just a time period in my life. And and if I had to do it again, I could. It's not like something that leaves you. It's like, this was part of me, and it's still part of me.
Sure. I mean, 10 years of your life dedicated to the band, and during the 80s, which was like, the highlight of the metal world, back then. Everything was revolved around it back then. I mean, when it finally comes time to walk away, is it a hard thing to do, or is it just easy at that point? You say, you know what, I'm ready, because you put so much of your life into that for 10 years. How hard is it to walk away?
Well, with Steve gone and, it seemed like the core of the band had left and did not seem the same anymore to me. I gave it a good shot, and I kind of thought it was just time to move on to different things. So I had a few bands afterwards for about 4 years. This was in the '90s. This was in the early '90s, and then band Father Time that had never been out there, but this is with Michael Landau on guitar and a band, and we went out and we played. We opened up with Dee Snider and the SMFs. And we did a tri-state tour, a little area with them, which was great because it was kind of the first time that Dee was getting half of the band back together, or partial, trying to get any type of reunion. Because after every show, when we opened up for Dee, AJ would come on, do "We're Not Gonna Take It" with Dee, and that would be like, kind of starting up their reunion. And then when the reunion for Twisted and the band got back together, then he had left, he said, I'm going to this. So Father Time had a record, and we just stopped shopping it. But it was a really killer album. The chops on that was just unbelievable.
I can imagine. Wasn't it like somewhere in the 2000s, maybe around 8 or 9 or 10, that you guys did get back together to do a show in Brooklyn? It was some sort of festival that was taking place over there?
In Brooklyn, yeah, that I wasn't a part of. At that time, I think I had things going on, and it was kind of came up on me suddenly, and they were asking me to do this show, and I'm talking suddenly. I'm like, a month advance, and I was like, I haven't sang this music in 25 years, and we're gonna get together, and I'm gonna go to run out and do a show in a month. I didn't want to be part of it at that time because I didn't feel the band was going to be ready. I mean, how could you just, go wing a show after so many times and not each other? And, I just it wasn't for me. So I believe that they did do the show with another singer. But I believe AJ and Steve was there, and it was just a one show. I just felt it really wasn't important. I was like, you want to go in the studio and you want to write a new record? I'm all for it, and then we'll go out and play. But I wasn't out to just do a show for Brooklyn. It wasn't even a big show. It was really no reason to go out and and do something if we weren't ready to do it after so long of being absent.
Sure, I don't blame you one bit. But I remember, I think it was 5 years ago, maybe a little bit more than right. I know it was right before COVID. The band was supposed to play in Germany, Keep It True, and they announced it was going to be all of you guys on that bill. And I remember you dropped out, and Steve dropped out. I know Steve's been sick, over the years. But then everybody dropped out. Sal went over there with a whole new band on his own, and I was so disappointed in that. I have to be honest with you, because that wasn't Cities to me. So how did that all come about?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that was a really weird thing that happened. I was all for going to Germany and doing this. We've been talking about it. Steve was all set to go out and do it, and I had told Sal, initially, listen, as long as Steve is going to go and it's the original, front lineup, I'm in. I'm in. Steve wasn't doing well. He wasn't feeling well. It was the beginning of his sickness, and he basically said, Ron, I can't do this. I have no energy to do this. And I don't even know how the conversation kind of ended with me and Sal. I look back on my messages, and it just said, all right, we'll get together and start rehearsing for it. And then the communication stopped. And then, we found out that he had left with a whole new band called It Cities. And, people were upset about it. Steve wasn't upset about it. I'll tell you the truth, I wasn't even upset about it. I guess you get to reach to a certain age and you start picking choosing what you're going to be mad at these days, And I felt that, if this was something that he wanted to do and he needed to do, then, God bless him. I'm glad he did it and glad he got it out of his system. I would have loved to have waited another year and possibly have done it all together, but this is something he needed to do. I didn't hold it against him, and I still don't hold it against him.
That's a great outlook and a great way to look at it. As you get older, you pick and choose your fights. I got to tell that to my wife. Maybe she'll calm down today.
Don't work with your wife.
Oh, okay. That's useless.
Yeah. Tony wants to ban me.
That is a great way of looking at it because, I watch some of the videos and it bothers. I'm like, this is not cities. It's not cities. But, I'm like, what? If the band is okay with it, then I guess what's the big deal? No harm, no foul.
Yeah, it wasn't hurting anybody, it didn't hurt me, if they would have sold 1 million shirts with my likeness on it, I might have been a little bit more upset about it, and I might have been saying, what's going on here. But as of him going over there, I didn't hold it against him. It was. Steve had said something to somebody, and I think he got a little mad at it. Steve and he was only joking. He said, "Wow, I knew sooner or later there would have been a Cities cover band." But he was just the way Steve is. He didn't do it. He wasn't a mean intention. He was taking it as good and taking it as bad. It was all cool. It was all right. So.
That's crazy stuff. I mean, with only you and Sal left right now, Scott played drums for you guys for quite a bit of time also. Is there any chance that there would ever be some sort of semi-reunion, or is it just not even possible now without Steve?
I'll never say anything is not impossible. Who knows? I don't really talk to Sal. I know he's doing well. He lived in Florida. He had had quadruple bypass surgery. His health wasn't well, but I know he's doing well now, and I'm glad for him with that. I have no problems with him. I don't think he has a problem with me. We're just, we just kind of settled the business, he's left, I'm right, and whoever the rec company is in the middle, and that's the way we've been doing our business so far. But, yeah, I would never say, that it's impossible. Who knows? There might be something in the future.
Like you said, never say never. I mean, right?
Yep.
Did you ever think? I mean, like I said, 40-something years later, that people still be talking about Cities. I mean, it's mind-boggling when you think about it. I mean, but you gave us.
It really is. It's quite amazing, and all I have to say is thank you, because it really feels good that something that I was a part of still holds value after so many years. I mean, we've been musicians all our lives, and we were only in this band for a short time in our life, and it seemed to have made an impact. And there's always musicians and generations of children, kids stumbling onto music. So yeah, I mean, if they can get anything from the record, be inspired by, I mean, that's what music is. You always be inspired for one thing, and that's what just makes us grow and grow,
That's true. I was inspired by watching you guys come up on stage, looking at your hair, saying, God damn, I got to get hair like that, because the girls they must be getting backstage after these shows. It must be astronomical. That's all I could think about as a 16-year-old kid in the audience, besides the great music.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I wasn't much for the party and girls backstage kind of thing. In fact, I was the kind of guy who left right after the show was over. I was more of a white picket fence kind of guy. But yeah, it was an exciting time. And it was definitely something that I'm glad I lived through.
I'm glad I got to live through it with you, and you gave us all that. Ronnie, I'm not going to keep. I got another guest waiting in the wings. But did you do a little work with your brother-in-law on Category 7? Did you sing a little bit on that record?
No, I haven't. I was doing work with Mike's bands that he brings in. Who on Earth? They just did their album,
okay.
And they hired me last year to record backing tracks for them. A great bunch of guys, and I did a couple of tracks on their new album that's coming out.
That's
so yeah, that's the most times that I was over there because Mike's producing a lot of bands out of his studio, a lot of great artists, a lot of great work, and he's busy as hell.
It's always good to be busy in this business. But hey, Ronnie, it was a pleasure to talk with you today. I'm going to play a couple of tracks off the City's record and get my next guest on. But like I said, such a big fan, and thank you for all the music and all these years of enjoying it.
Thank you so much.
You got it, Ronnie. Take care. Have a great night, my friend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Cities with No Turning Back, that comes off of one of their demos from back in the 80s. And before that, Not Alone in the Dark. I want to thank Ronnie for being on tonight's show. We're going to get to Peter in a few minutes. He's got a brand new record out with Last Temptation. We'll be talking to him all about that. We'll do one or two more songs between now and then. There's a show or a festival, I don't know what it is, coming up in Mexico called Masters and Sinners. This has been going on for about 10 years, this festival, these shows. I never heard of it before. They promote it like, the tickets, I'm looking at the bottom, so the front row tickets were $550, and anything from the second row back is like $300. I was like, Jesus Christ, $500 for a ticket for a show in Mexico. Who the hell's on this bill? Who's playing? Like, you would think like what you're getting, and when you hear it, it's Mike Albert advertised as ex-Megadeth, Dave Evans, ex-AC/DC, Mark Bowles from Yngwie Malmsteen from back in the day, and Rex Caravello from Green Jelly, whatever the hell they are, I don't even know. I'm like, who's paying $500 to see these four guys do covers of Rat, Skid Row, Poison, Motley Crue, and Guns N' Roses? I mean, this is insane, but you want to know something? Those Mexicans will pack that place in to go see these people. I mean, think about it. Mike Albert was in Megadeth for about 5 months in 1985. You could ask the most diehard Megadeth fans. They wouldn't even be able to tell you he was in the band. Nobody even remembers that. But they promote the shit out of this guy like he was like Dave Mustaine himself, even David Ellison, who's an ex-member. And Rex Cavallaro with Green Jelly, which is that they did all those goofy comedy rock metal band songs. He didn't join the band till like 10 years ago. He wasn't even there in their prime in the 80s and the 90s. So I don't get shit like this, but $550 for the first row ticket. God bless America. Huh? Well, God bless Mexico, I should say. Maybe it's pesos. Who the hell knows? What is 550 pesos? Like $3? Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. All right, let's get on a couple more tunes here before we talk to Peter. I'm in the mood for Creator, so let's hear Living in Fear. Fire at Night. All right, we're going to play something off the Killer Machine record before we get into the next interview with Peter. I just want to remind everybody, this Thursday, it's our Halloween Spooktacular. It's our Halloween special at 12 o'clock on the holiday matinee. The show is pre-recorded like all the matinees are, the holiday shows are. But I'm going to upload this one to the new site Mixler, where we're going to be moving in December. I believe the first show there is actually December 1st, so that'll make it easy for me to remember. But December 1st, the show is moving from Spreaker to Mixler. But you can listen to it, on the HeavyMetalMayhem.com site, the Blogspot. The links are up on Facebook, Twitter, all over the place. So, but we are moving there live in December 1st. I figured I have a couple of weeks to kind of work the kinks out. The music industry kind of shuts down in December, so there won't be a lot of interviews. It'll just be mostly music shows. So if I screw things up a little bit, not being able to figure out the new switchboard and stuff, it gives me time before January when the guests come back on. Maybe I'll try to do a few pre-recorded interviews if I can get them on. That way we have something for the month of December. But this Thursday, the Halloween Spooktacular number 15 on Mixler. Head over there, check it out. I'll put the links up for it later on. Right now, let's do some Killing Machine, and then we'll talk to Peter.
What can I do? I'm the hunter, transformed to prey. Haunted victim, called Lugaroo. I'm the hunter, left in the days. Lugaroo. Horrified reality. Schizophrenia takes hold. Spun into crazed illusion. Mass hysteria unfolds. Undeserving curse lives on, and the nightmare has begun. The silver touch can only save the innocent, the taste I crave. Apathy is my destiny. In my heart, in my veins. Lugaroo. I'm the hunter, shape-shifting face. Taunted victim, what can I do? I'm the hunter, transformed to prey. Haunted victim, called Lugaroo. I'm the hunter, left in the days. Lugaroo. Transformed to prey. Haunted victim, the Lugaroo. I'm the hunter, left in the days. Lugaroo. I'm the hunter.
Hello.
Hey, Peter, this is Mike. Can you hear me?
Hey, Mike. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you
Oh,
today?
pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing
Wait.
great. It's a pleasure to talk with you. And listen, I go back with you close to 30 years in the music, so I'm happy that you're still out there doing it, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Trying at least, you know.
Yeah, it's a hard business, but you've made your way through it pretty good, I think. And, with this new Last Temptation record, I mean, I feel like you've taken the band in another new direction. I mean, that's something that's, I think you're kind of known for.
Yeah. I mean, it's a, well, actually, it's back to the roots. It's
True.
back to my roots, right? But yeah. I mean, I tried something. I mean, to me now, the roots are fresh. You know, it's like I pretty much, did a lot of different things, and I don't know, the mood and the creativity, everything was going, forward to be back to Van Halen, Kiss, and all this stuff that I loved and I always loved. I mean, it's and I still love. I mean, of course, and I think that's really what it is. But I had to find also the team that was ready to do it. I mean, it's not everybody is in the same direction or vibe or whatever. I mean, and so I'm pretty excited about
That's true. I mean, for people in our age group, and I don't want to age us, but we all come
that.
from that '70s, rock era where we started with
Yeah.
Kiss and bands like that, and it kind of developed over the years and the decades. And I listen to your music, and I'm like, you could so seamlessly bounce between like the hard rock world and then the thrash world, like Kill Machine and Temple of Brutality, and it's like nothing to you. You like easily could just pick out a genre and fit right into it. Is that something that you have to work on, or is it just because of your love of all styles of music?
Well, that's just, I mean, I love, that's what I explain to people. I mean, it's very difficult. I love Bryan Adams, but I love Pantera and Slayer and Lamb of God. And in the middle of it, I'm writing stuff and I don't know, sometimes it's going to be softer, sometimes going to be heavier. I mean, when I did this record, I mean, I have a few riffs that it's more like a temporal brutality riffs that I had to put aside. But of course, I mean, because I'm writing it, I mean, you're still gonna have a mix of some stuff. You're still gonna be a bit heavy, even though it's Last Temptation, and you're still gonna be melodic, even if it's something more like a temporal brutality. I mean, it's so the mix is there. I don't force myself. I just do it, and pick up songs. I mean, then I have to pick up songs or direction of the album. But that's it. That's really what it is. I'm not trying to focus on something and say, okay, now I'm just going to do that. I mean, because that's what's working in this business or whatever. I'm not like that. I'm playing what I'm going to play at the time I'm writing it. So, I wouldn't be surprised to have a very trash record, in maybe 4 years from now. I don't know. But it's just, it's me.
I mean, we're in a business now where it's constantly changing. Music that's popular right now kind of fades away and something else comes in. Then sometimes it comes back again. Do you have to, as a writer, as a songwriter, do you have to kind of write for yourself in hopes to find the audience that you're looking for? Do you kind of have to change with the scene and the style when it changes?
Well, I'm I'm gonna say something. I'm very I was a selfish. I want to please myself first because I think it's the only way that people listen to the record and say, "Oh man, they enjoyed what they're doing." So I'm not going to force in any direction right now. I mean, I'm just going to do okay. You know what? That's the way I feel right now. That's the way I want to play. That's the way I feel how to play. If people like it, amazing, and I hope so. And I'm still saying that you have publics for. I mean, you have a crowd for every kind of music. That's the way I see it, and plus, I mean, yes, we this is a record that is modern sounding, but at the same time, yeah, okay, back to the root '70s and everything. But I can see kids right now listen to this kind of music. I mean, and the only problem is we don't have major bands still there. I mean, everybody's like, starting to retire. I mean, Aerosmith, Kiss, and everything. So where are we going to get this kind of music? So I hope, some people are going to pick up a Last Temptation record. I mean, just to say, hey, dude, it's still there, it's still alive, and it's still fresh.
Oh,
And
absolutely. I mean, with this record, a new lineup from the last record for Few for My Soul, the Hot Starter lineup is kind of new. So I mean, do you act when you're writing? I mean, I know you write for yourself because if you don't please yourself, how can you make other people happy? I get that, but do
Yeah.
you have to kind of adjust your writing for the new members that come into the band, especially like with a vocalist? Because one vocalist might not be capable of what the last one can do, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Well, I'm fortunate that one can do a lot of things.
Yeah.
But no, of course, once I know who's singing, and I'm true to the lineup. I mean, I know what to do. Like with drums this time around, I mean, it's like when I play with Stet or whatever. There is no limitation. You can do whatever. You can say, whatever you want to do it, because I know it's going to be good. So that was a big difference compared to the other albums. Except when you have people like, of course, Stet or Eric Singer or whatever. You don't have to say anything. It's going to be good, groovy, and everything. And Fabio is the same vein, except younger. I mean, the new generation of drummer, but not the typewriter, what I call typewriter drummer. Where the double bass is always there, and it sounds more like a typewriter and groove drums. I mean. But I mean, no, I mean, I'm writing riffs here for the singer. Once I know the voice and I can, see a bit in my head how it can sound and the limitation or no limitation of the singer, then I can really write for him, I mean, and leave space for him. I mean, and that's what very important in songwriting. It's to leave space, it could be a Temple of Brutality, meaning it could be a thrash record or a pop record or whatever. What is important are the songs. You have to have good songs. And I hope we can do that. I mean, and we did this.
Yeah, I absolutely think you did it on this record, on most of your records. And like I said, as a fan, I came into you like with the Stream, when you're doing Stream, at the Take It or Leave It record in the mid '90s, and I was like Bob Daisley, and all these people. I mean, I think about all the people you've played with over the years. I mean, to me, it's like a bucket list of dream musicians to get involved with. And was that something that you always wanted to do? Because you very rarely in any band or any lineup have repeated the same lineups over and over again. There's always changing lineups, always rotations in the lineup. I mean, you and Sid Halley, you just mentioned, you guys seem to be like compatible. You've done a lot of stuff together, but is it important to keep changing up the lineup to keep things fresh, or it's just the way it goes, today, and the way the music business is?
Well, a bit of both. I mean, first was really a dream, to play with all the guys that I bought records, like Bob. I mean, come on.
I know.
And I have to mention Bob many times now because he didn't get mentioned on Saturday.
That wasn't going to happen.
Oh yeah, of course. So Ozzy owes Bob.
Yes, he does.
So I say it. I wasn't invited, but I would have said that. And of course Bob, or even when I did some tracks with Vinny or Eric Singer was of course Ted. I did 6 records with him. No, it was always a part of me that I wanted to play with these guys, and I made it happen if I want. I mean, if I can say it that way. And it's Bob. I did now two records. He was on the Stream, Nothing Is Sacred, and then we did some songs for the First Last Temptation, and Don Airy, same thing. I mean, it's like, dude, I mean, I saw that guy was Rainbow, I saw that guy was Ozzy, I saw that guy was everybody except me. No, I did it. It's like, I mean, yeah, I mean, it was kind of what I wanted to, but at the same time, I think this band is so fresh and so, young-blooded. I would say that it's perfect lineup for now. I mean, yeah. And to answer your question, of course, for some stuff like Temporal Brutality, I think, Ellefson was perfect. I mean, same with Killing Machine. It's kind of his vibe, more the trash stuff and the metal stuff. And Stet was a bit out of his genre with Temple, but he loved it, and I think that's what I like. I mean, to me, when Stet did the Temple of Brutality, it's a bit like Vinnie Paul in Pantera. Vinnie Paul is not a typical, or was not, sorry, typical thrash drummer. He had this groove, and you can tell from where he comes from. He's not a typical thrash drummer that just does double bass or very he does crazy stuff, crazy groovy stuff, and that what made Pantera and Vinnie Paul so big and so interesting. So I'd say a bit the same. Yeah, of course, I'm enjoying playing with people that are known like this, because first they have such an experience, such stories, but also, I mean, like Bob, I will take Bob again as an example. He's so it's amazing. When you play guitar and you have Bob playing bass, you almost don't recognize it's you playing guitar because he's so sensitive on everything you do. He's doing the right notes at the right time, and his writing is amazing as a bass player. I mean, let's face it. I mean, everybody talks about Randy Rhoads, but I think without Bob, you take Randy, and he will be a great guitar player, but not an amazing guitar player. I don't know how to explain that.
No, you know, I was just gonna say the same exact thing you did. Is that Ozzy always credits Randy, which I mean, listen, you can't take nothing away from Randy Rhoads ever on the face of this earth.
No,
But it was Bob Daisley that made that whole band the band that it is today and was back then in the '80s. As much as Randy
absolutely.
was a top playing, he never gets enough credit, and he just got screwed over by the Sharon Osbourne machine. That's what happened. Him and Lee and a lot of other people. You know, they're not the only
Yes.
two, but they were. I mean, I always thought he was a driving force behind that band. When he wasn't involved with it no more, you saw the difference, you know. And not just talking, with Randy being gone, because Jakey Lee was a great guitar player who stepped in
Amazing.
and did a
Yeah.
phenomenal job too. And same with Zach Wild. But when his touch wasn't there, to me, the magic was gone.
Yeah. Well, and you can tell. I mean, and also again, I mean, the what made this name Ozzy was really, really the first records. You know, it's like saying Kiss without Peter and Ace. It's Kiss. Well, without Peter and Ace at the beginning, it wouldn't be Kiss sounding like that. You know, I mean, it's the magical touch at that time, the crazy part of it. That's what made Kiss Kiss. You know, then after, of course, Gene and Paul were smart enough to keep the boat afloat, and really make it big again. But I mean, without those records, without a live and without a live album, dude, I mean, they wouldn't be the same. Let's face it. I mean, whatever you want to say, it will never be the same.
It's true. You know, when you look at your career and all the bands you've been a part of, the bands are really you. I mean, you find the people that you want to play with, you put these lineups together, but they know that, you're kind of the center of it. Do you think it's possible? I mean, I can only think of maybe 2 or 3 bands off the top of my head that actually stood together from beginning till end, and made it last because personalities get in the way, conflicts get in the way, money, whatever you may want to call it, the business gets in the way. Things happen, they fall apart, and these great things that could have been even greater die on the vine sometimes. So is it better to kind of be a solo artist or the main guy in the band where you're bringing all the other people where they kind of have to answer to you?
Well, I try to be a Democrat. I try to be still very open. I'm not Ingrid Malmsteen, but and it would be great, to have a band that stick for 20 years. But like you say, it's look at Motley Crue. That's the best example I can give right now. I mean, Motley Crue had a different singer, a different guitar player, a different drummer, but they always have Nikki Sixx.
Yeah.
There was never and will never have a version of Motley Crue without Nikki Sixx.
True.
And did it change the sound? Yeah, big time. I mean, sometimes it was really like what I won't say the word because on radio, but you're like what, but then again. That's the I would say the main core is Motley Crue is Nikki Sixx.
Yeah,
I know people are gonna go nuts if I say that, but it's the truth. Just you can have records with everybody changed, but it's gonna be Motley Crue with Nikki Sixx. Now I love bands that stick together, but do you know a lot? I mean, there is one band really that I have a profound admiration and also the strength in the band because of all the drama that happened. It's Def Leppard.
Yeah.
What I mean, that's a band that really, I don't know I don't know the real relationship between the guys, but I mean, it must be very strong, because they went through death, they went through accident, everything. It's still the same guys, except the guy that are dead.
True.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of big bands will just fire the drummer when he had an accident. They will just change him, say sorry, but we have to go on. No, they stick together. It's something that shows something. Maybe Aerosmith too. At one point, of course, you have tensions that they try stuff, but it's still a very, very strong band together. Even if there is really bad blood in the band, it's
there's always bad blood in there was always bad blood in the house
Yeah,
between one member and the other. But you know what? When they got up on stage, you would never know that. They made it work and they knew it was a
that's
job in
it.
a way, and they performed, and you would never know that these two guys hated each other. And as soon as they walked off stage, they gave each other the finger and walked away. You would never know that.
Yeah, yeah. You know, and you have some bands like there's ZZ Top, of course, but it's a three-piece band, so it's maybe easier, you know, to go along. I mean, to get along together. I mean, and three people can always talk. As soon as you're 4 or 5 people, then you have clan, you have I don't know. So I admire bands that can stick together, but the reality of it here, and you're growing up, and you're not growing up the same way. You know, it's a bit. I see it as a marriage. You know, if you get married at 20, most likely you're going to get divorced. You know, I mean, it's not going to be pretty after 15 years. Same with the band. I mean, it's like it all depends also how the people are acting with each other, you know. I mean, and if they can bear each other, because like you say, it's also a business. Sometimes you're like, oh, wow, the fucking idiot. But I mean, I say, oh, I did the F word. But
It's
I mean,
okay. It's okay.
all right. And but I mean, at the same time, they know that together they're gonna have this magical, you know, stuff happening on stage and with the people. So that's also something to learn. You know, I mean, nobody teaches you to like or dislike the people in the band and how to handle it. And sometimes it's possible that band each, I mean, not sometimes, a lot of times people each hate each other's and then they're on stage and like you say, nobody really notice.
Yeah.
And then you have bands that you notice. I mean, I remember Dawkins in the 80s. Come on.
Oh yeah, George Lynch and Don
man.
Dokken. Forget it.
Wow.
They,
You
they
know,
were
you
like,
can,
they were
you
like
can
the
feel
James.
it.
They were like the James addiction of the.
Yeah, you can feel it, you know, and you're like, wow, it's you know, and
Yeah.
when you feel it, you don't have the same stuff on stage. It's not happening the same way. I mean, let's face it, you know, same when you listen to a record, if you know if the guy enjoyed to make this record or not, you know, and
Yeah, no,
I
that's
go back
right.
to Van Halen, you know, Van Halen listened to Dive It Down. You know that they didn't like it at all. It was for contracts. They were pissed at the label. They did it. They gave whatever. But you can tell it's not the same magical sound as the first 4 records.
Yeah.
You know.
That happened. Like, you know, you're just talking about like, you know, band members not getting along and trying to make it work and not make it work. But do you think like today, like, you know, like between Killing Machine, Last Temptation, Temple of Brutality, anything else you want to do, you know that you could easily change genres and give the band a different name, come up with a different sound and a concept. But a lot of those bands are kind of locked into what they're known for. Aerosmith was locked into that sound. Motley Crue was locked into that sound. And do you think as a musician grows older and more influences come into their life, stuff that you were into in the 70s might change by the 90s or the 2000s? And I feel like sometimes they're kind of locked into it. They got to produce that sound for the fans because it's a machine. That's where the money comes from, where you can say, I can express myself in any way I want because I have that ability to do it. So does that make it easier as being a musician where you can do that?
Well, I mean, maybe mentally. You know, I agree with you. I mean, and I'm the first to be like that. Like, you know, a lot of singers, when they leave a band, they want to do this solo career or whatever, and they try to do something completely stupid that you're like, take Rob Alford. I love Rob. I mean, when he did Fight, you say, fuck yeah. I mean, that's it. You know, I mean, that's a step further in metal. But then he did 2, and you're like, what?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
You know, and I understand maybe him as an artist, he wanted to do it, but he was already the metal god. He was already so known that no, people want Alford. They don't want to. That's, you know, I don't know how to explain it. And I think I'm doing the same thing, but it's different names. I mean, if I want to do Temple of Brutality, it's going to be Temple of Brutality. If I want to do Killing Machine, it's going to be a Killing Machine. So, and Last Temptation is his own entity. So yes, I think for my sanity, it's better. You know, because now, I mean, I know that, you know, when I want to do something, I can do something that way, and it's going to be this, you know, and we always say, you know, we talked for years about doing another temple, but I mean, we agreed it should be the same people, or it's not going to happen. So it's not happening. So let's face it, you know, yeah, whatever you're doing, you should be happy, and that's maybe why I got so many bands, different styles, and the styles is just because the way I'm writing. You know, I'm always writing a lot all the time. I don't know. I mean, I'm lucky like that. And but I got songs, and like I said, I mean, I wrote the Last Temptation album and the last one, this one, and I got riffs that are like Pantera that I can't. I won't use it on the Last Temptation, but I keep that on the side, and we'll see, you know. But and that's all. Yeah, but I'm more in the vibe of Van Halen right now, so yeah. Next last is already in the process.
Well, that's good to know. I mean, I think about the singers that you've worked with over the years. I mean, David Reese, who I absolutely love, Mike
Oh yeah.
Viscara, James Rivera. I mean, there's so many to name and talk about. I mean, is there still that one guy out there that you just want to get a hold of and do something with?
Well, I started to do some demos with Ripper.
Oh, nice. Rip is great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but I mean he's busy. And I did some. I mean, I'm doing some work right now with Keith and Joan as well. Keith is, but you know, if I want to talk about the one I would like to try, I don't know. I mean, I don't know yet. Of course, Alford, but I mean, I think he's busy, and I think he's in a band.
True. Well, I mean, you know, like back in the '80s, it wasn't so easy to reach out to different musicians unless you had a contact or somebody knew somebody. You know, if you had a friend that knew Bob Daisley, you can get in touch with him. Today is so much easier because you have the internet, social media. You can pretty much reach out to almost any musician, and they'll answer you right back directly. So, I mean, is there any possibility, I mean, somewhere down in the future that we might get something with Stream again, or is it just like a thing that's done with and you could always do any kind of solo record you want today?
Man, it's funny you mentioned. Yeah, I mean, there's a strong possibility.
That's great. There's a lot to be said about the name of a band. It holds a lot of weight. You know, if you said, "Well, I'm putting out a solo record on the name of Peter," we say, "Okay." We say Stream. Oh man, I remember Stream. So there is a lot to the name of a band, whether people like to admit it or not.
No, no, absolutely. I mean, I probably have an ego, but I mean, not as you mentioned. I don't have this kind of ego that's like Peter's band, you know. And it's like I don't see myself like that because I think everybody in the band. That's why I try too. I mean, it's like people I'm working with because it's working with. You know, it's not like I'm not going to tell someone how to play drums because the drummer is going to be better than me, but I try to have the people and like I enjoy the way they approach stuff, and I think that's truly great on this song or that album, and that's the way. But I mean, I'm just trying to use their talent the way they are. I'm not someone that's gonna write everything for everybody. I mean, I like the singer to do his own melody, and that's why I even thought about one day, you take one song, just one, and you give it to 10 different singers and say, well, do anything you want on it, the way you want it. Believe me, people will never realize it's the same song because the voice is going to be so different, and the approach is going to be so different. That's the magical stuff about music, and I think that's why I did the Stream, I did the Killing, I did Temple, but that's really what it is. It's so enjoyable to have people that are so talented that do accept to play with you a bit, and. That's my stuff, that's my dream that I achieved when I was a little guy, I went, oh my God, I mean, I want to play music and I want to play with these guys. And I did for most of the guys, but it's just because I love the way they're playing. I mean, there is great drummers and great singers that I don't like, that I would never say, oh my God, I would like to have it. I mean, it's, singing a song or drumming on it. So yeah, it's all magical when you love this. So, and the band is always bigger than the name. I agree with you. I mean,
yeah.
Well,
with a band like Stream, when you come up with this idea, you come up with the concept, you start writing this music, then people want to see the band live. Trying to get Eric Singer, Bob Daisley, Pat Regan, Sted Howland, David Reese, any of those people together for a live show, it's probably almost impossible. So when you say, hey, this is just going to be a studio project, you say, we'll have to put a touring band together if we go out and play live, because I can never make all these people get together in the same room at the same time.
You're pretty cool, but I mean, I know that Bob is not waiting to tour. I mean, I talked to him, and I know that was in 2019, and touring and everything is not really on his plate right now. He doesn't feel that way, and so that's already one option that anyway it's impossible. You can have him record, but Eric, I don't know. I mean, he's in Vegas, he's enjoying life. He's probably doing stuff, I mean, with Paul or whatever. I mean, it's all this is up in the air, but I mean, of course, there are guys that are ready to do it and to be in the same room. Easy? No, you're right. It's not easy, but possible. Everything is always possible.
That's very true. Peter, I'm not going to keep you. I know you're doing interviews all day today. I mean, the year is almost over. What's happening for Last Temptation? Heartstarter is coming out on November 22nd officially on Metalville. But you got anything planned for the band for the rest of this year? You're going to just pick up again in 25?
Well, 25. I mean, really, now we're doing all the promotion that we can. We're going to shoot some videos to keep promotion going, like December and January. And hopefully, I mean, not hopefully, I think by February, March, we're going to start to do some shows. And so we're going to be full speed, I would say, April, May, to do some tours, to do everything. And hopefully this time I'm trying, to find the right agent and everything, but to come to do a few shows, East Coast, West Coast, not at the same time. Because, I mean, of course, the cost of the touring right now is
crazy,
a bit more difficult than before. Yeah. But, I mean, we could do 5-10 shows, East Coast, 5-10 shows, West Coast, and then see how to do the Middle West. But step by step. I mean, it's really what I'm working on right now. I mean, thinking about it.
Well, that's fantastic. When you wake your way over to the East Coast here in New York City, I can't wait to see you guys live. It's going to be a thrill.
Yeah. I mean, I know that people are waiting. I mean, I get many good friends in New York saying, "When are you going to play in New York?" Well, when I get invited.
You're invited. Come on over.
Yeah.
All right, Peter. It was great talking to you, my friend. You have a great day. You take care of yourself.
Thanks so much, Mike.
Thank
you too. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Answer just a little while. I'll sleep a good Sunday. Just another ride, then I'll find a way. Find a way. Over and over, I keep on telling myself that a lie. You know I'm never gonna stop. Over and over, you can enjoy it too. Never gonna die. Over and over, over and over. Never gonna die. Live by night.
All right, brand new Last Temptation, Live by Night. I want to thank Ronnie and Peter for being on tonight's show. Thank you guys very much. Don't forget, this Thursday at 12 o'clock, it's the holiday matinee, our Halloween Spooktacular. It's our Halloween show. It'll be the first show we're putting up on Mixler, which is going to be our new home come December 1st. It's pre-recorded, so I think we'll put it up there. We'll see how it goes, how it looks in the layout and all that other stuff. So tune into that show. I'll have all the links up on all the social media sites for everybody. And then this Sunday night live, Steve LeBrec from Night Riders. Don't forget to tune in for that. We're going to be easing up on the guests for the rest of the year, just maybe one a week between now and January. So if anybody else pops up, we'll get them on the show. But let's close it out here tonight with a little Death Dealer. Don't get in my way. Take care, everybody. Have a great week, and I'll see you next Sunday night.